Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Kovray, a couple that loves to play board games.
Today we'll be doing a preview of
Wandering Galxies, the new Crossroads game. This game is designed by Jerry Hawthorne and is published by Plaid Hat Games, who helped sponsor this video.
In this game you'll take the role of spacers who'll be traveling wandering
the galaxy
to get some jobs done, to make some profit and pay off their ships so they can be free in space to venture as they will.
Exactly.
With that said, this game is on Kickstarter. Learn more about it in the links down below, and let's give you a quick overview of how the game is played. Wandering Galxies is a crossroad game where you'll be able to use the app to guide you along your adventures. Not only will it help you set up and teach you to play, but it'll provide audio narration of your adventures. Each game is played over a campaign, which takes you through 4 game sessions. Your goal is to earn 7 profit over the course of the game. If you do, you'll be successful and hear about the personal ventures depending on how far you've ranked up your character. Now you'll want to do all of this while avoiding the threat from reaching 7, as your adventure may come to an end before you even had the chance to indulge in a little fame and glory. Now before you play, you'll create your characters, giving them names and learning more about their backstory as you answer some prompts on the back of the sheet. Each player will also be responsible for a variety of ship stations based on your player count. Now let's give a rundown of each of the stations. Operations will control the app, consult the rules for the game, ensuring the game flows smoothly. You'll also track profit and threat for your party. Navigation will be responsible for the card catalog and the jobs your team is currently working on. You'll track the location on the map for each job using waypoints. You'll also be responsible for traveling on the map and the galactic struggle dial. Logistics is responsible for the ship log. Here you'll keep track of the ship and apply stickers as your ship changes throughout the game. Cargo will also be your responsibility. You'll need to keep inventory and advise your team when to sell, to buy, and even smuggle cargo. Engineering is responsible for the ship's hull and the ship's power. You'll need power to travel, and your hull may become damaged along your travels. Engineering will also be responsible for the bag building in the game. The drawbag will have a variety of tokens that will surface as your party travels and continues to venture in the game. Science is responsible for tracking the life support on the ship. You may lose life in a variety of circumstances in the galaxy, however you'll have the opportunity to generate life support as well. In addition, you'll be responsible for science projects. You'll conduct research to enhance your crew and your adventure. And finally, security will often be responsible for the ship's combat. With this responsibility, you'll keep track of the enemy health and all the special devices and the abilities on your ship, supporting other players in utilizing these abilities. Now once you've set up and have chosen your adventure on the app, you'll turn to the required patron location book and play the game over numerous rounds. Each round has 3 phases: planning, action, and end of round phase. A planning phase is where each player will place their worker in the action they wish to take, noting the required actions, the locked actions, and if multiple players can go on an action as well. Now this is often timed, and you'll need to choose wisely how you wish to split up in order to make the best use of your crew and time. The action phase is when all of these actions are resolved top to bottom. This will often involve skill checks, story progressions, and of course some sort of benefit or deficit to your crew. Now skill checks in this game are done through your character deck, which you'll have an opportunity to adjust and deck build throughout the game. Each skill check, you'll draw 3 cards. Drawing successes will help your outcome, and you'll be able to boost your successes by utilizing perks, items, and your sidekicks. It also wouldn't be a true cooperative game if your friends couldn't help you out. Your teammates can support your skill checks by stressing out. Now each skill check includes a resolution which will be guided by the adventure book and/or the app. Lastly, at the end of each round, there'll be a code you'll enter to progress along the story and your campaign. Now as you play, you'll take on and complete a variety of jobs. You'll upgrade your ship, you'll gain reputation, and rank up within your crew. You'll also acquire nicknames, catchphrases, and acquire scars, as not every adventure will be a breeze. You'll keep playing until you complete your session or the game, with plenty of opportunities to save in between games as well, so you can come back fully rested and adventure through the galaxy once more. Are you ready to wander the galaxy?
With that out of the way, we wanted to talk about some of the features that we think are important in your decision of whether or not you're going to check out Wandering Galxy.
Let's dive into the features.
Let's do it.
Now, like the other games in the Crossroads series, this game really thrives in that narrative aspect.
Oh, the storytelling and the app that goes alongside of it with the like voice acting and just having it like in front of you, it's smooth, it's fun, and it's like creative in that sense where you never know like what voice you're going to hear, what character's going to come up, and that's always a fun part about the Crossroads games.
And I think it has that light, joyful, playful tone. There's a lot of jokes that will persist throughout the game. There's a lot of character that comes out in the game as well. So you really get to know some of the characters that you will be dealing with quite a bit. And you never quite know what you'll find in the galaxy.
Yes, there's a lot of clever narrative that goes on in this game. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely something to consider when checking this one out.
Another thing I'll add here is that each character has their own backstory.
Yes.
That you'll fill out some prompts in the beginning of the game, and then that will determine the type of character you have. But then, as you progress, as you rank up, the conclusion will also have a different end story for your character as well.
Your character evolves throughout the game, and it's always interesting to see where it will take you.
There's many pathways to really follow. Now, speaking of pathways, this game is truly a sandbox experience.
Oh yeah.
Your ship Zephyr can hold 3 jobs at a time, but you can acquire more jobs. And the navigation aspect of that role is to really decipher which jobs are we going to go for, where should we go in this whole galaxy.
Yes.
And you can really, like, the map is huge.
The map is huge, and because you're really playing out your characters to finish, like there is an end goal for this game, you're not going to be able to reach all of the things that you may unlock. So it's an interesting, like, do I do this versus this? Why would I want to go do this mission versus this mission? And it's an interesting decision space that allows for a lot of, like we said before, a creative narrative that you get to follow along in this path.
It gives kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy vibe of like you sit down, you're like, what should we do next? The universe is our oyster. Let's open it up, shuck it. Is that what you do?
Shuck it. I guess.
And
Oyster,
and then figure out where we want to go. What do we want to do? Who do we want to be?
And if we're staying with this analogy, there's always another oyster because you can come back to the game and maybe tackle those missions. You kind of know how you're going to unlock them. And then once you do, you can go down that path instead of the path that you previously went down. So the replayability is still there, and it exists within Wandering Galxy.
Now the next aspect is really that Crossroads system. Freelancers, Forgotten Waters, they have this system that is so easy to follow because you're on a page, you have your list of actions, and all you do is you place your little person thing on that action.
Your worker placement, essentially.
Worker placement, exactly. There's required actions, there's actions that multiple players can do, there's actions only one player can do. And again, it ties into that thematic tie. You jump in and you're like, we only have 45 seconds. Where should we go?
Yeah.
You should go over there, I should go over there. You'd be better at that. And it has that really feel like you really would when you go explore the galaxy or decide where you want to go to.
Yeah, this is probably an interesting or a good point to mention that you are going to be like deck building throughout the game, adding new cards to your deck, which will really like specialize you into certain things that you're good at, and that'll help you decide which actions maybe you'll be taking when you do have that 45-minute discussion or 45-second discussion amongst the people that you're playing with, saying, I should go here because my deck is more catered towards doing well in these skill checks. So there's that. And yeah, you get that familiarity with the Crossroads system, but it's different enough and in a different like galaxy, of course, that you'll feel the whole like different game experience.
The deck building is definitely unique to this game. The skill checks with deck building is really interesting because everyone starts out really generic, but there's lots of opportunities to improve your deck and cycle cards out. So the skill checks become really quite exciting because you never quite know what you're going to encounter.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the last feature we'll really talk about is the mix of all the mechanics that are in this game. This is a level up in comparison to Forgotten Waters and Freelancers. There's a lot in this game.
Yeah, it's a lot about, it is like about deciding how you want to go about it, but there's a lot of like management that's going on within the game that you're going to have to juggle as like a cooperative team. So if you like cooperative games, it already speaks volume to you wanting to play it, and now you're adding like more mechanics on top of it. It just evolves and like levels up the complexity of this one.
Yeah, for example, there's bag building in this game. how you encounter conflict and travel really will.
Yeah.
There'll be little chits that come out, and things will happen to your ship. It'll have damage. Your threats will go up. Some stations could potentially get damaged.
Yep.
And you can really resolve that and mitigate that by adding some helpful tokens to that as well.
But on the other hand too is like you get these decisions where you have to like decide, do you push forward or do you maybe hold off so you can maybe repair your ship, but because you're doing that, you have to take risk tokens and then add them to your bag.
And that can increase your threat, which can lose you the game.
Which, yeah, pushes you further and further to the end game.
It's that whole balance of everything that you're doing, too. And it is that really decision point, too, of like, what is everyone doing? How do all the things mesh together? There's a science department that can just upgrade people and various things in the game for you, which is really interesting. But the theme really does shine through everything that you're absolutely doing here.
Yeah, it's a tug and pull. You've got to really pay attention to what you're doing, manage your resources, and do it like collectively. This game is 1 to 6 player, so it's interesting to be able to have all of the decisions to yourself versus maybe playing with a higher player count and having 4 people talk about what it is exactly that needs to go on.
And there is variants for the 1 and 2 player mode that bring in apprentices and that really help you play the game as well and experience it at the higher player count if you don't have their friends quite yet.
Exactly.
Just quite yet.
Almost there. Almost there.
Almost there. Well, with all of that said, in summary, Wandering Galxies is that Crossroads game that is filled with thematic narrative juice.
It adds on these new mechanics like deck building, bag building, and like traveling throughout the map that we are not as familiar with in the other Crossroads games. So it's that increased level of complexity that maybe you were looking for when you had played the other Crossroads games.
And of course it adds that familiar touch of the narrative from the app-based book, but you also have the opportunity to get a book and just read the entries yourself as well.
That's true, yes.
Which is really nice. But with all that said, if you want to learn more, you know where to go.
Down in the comments, description below, because we'll have links to the crowdfunding page where you can learn more and make a better decision on whether or not you're going to check out Wandering Galxies.
And if you have questions for us, we did play throughout the whole demo of what is currently available in the game, which is not a ton because there's still a lot in development. But we got a good taste to it, and we're really happy and excited to share more about it with you.
Yes.
So ask us questions down in the comments below. We'd be happy to chat Galaxy with you. Meet Moop.
Yeah, and of course, if this is a helpful video, hit that thumbs up button, and hopefully the stuff that we talked about today really made your decision easier on whether or not you were going to check this Wandering Galxy game out.
Exactly. And for our question of the day today, if you were in a space crew of ragtag spacers, what would be the role in the ship?
Ragtag spacers.
What would you do there?
I'd want to be like either their scientist person, like their more sciencey person, or their weapons person maybe.
I was also thinking sciencey. It'd be nice to be like, oh, we got this
gadgets person.
Oh no, I was thinking more of like specimens, more organics. Like, oh, we got this
like
plant. What does
engineering,
it do?
I guess,
so a little bit different. So interesting. But let us know in the comments down below, and thank you so much for watching.
Yes. Until next time, we will see you later. Bye.